Club for the use of your club. On short notice, it is greatly appreciated. Before we introduce Michael Thurmond, I just want to give a warm welcome to somebody who we all know and recognize in the Dunwoody community, and someone who I truly feel has had the best interests of children at heart. And would you please join me in giving a warm welcome and a hand to Jester. Thank you. One reason I invited Michael Thurmond to speak here this evening was to look forward. Obviously, we've all watched the news and read the paper, and, well, it's not always great news. But Mr. Thurmond will be our superintendent for the next year, and I look forward to hearing his vision to what we can do to make DeKalb County schools great again. So with that end, Michael, would you please come up and share a few words?
Thank you. First, I want to thank Stacy for inviting me. And I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful day. And I'm sure you could be doing better things than listening to an interim superintendent speak. But I'm delighted to be here with you this afternoon, and I look forward to continuing the relationship and to open up the lines of communication so that you can get to know me, I can get to know you, but more importantly, to know that we are turning a fresh new page in the DeKalb School District. These are challenging times, yes. The problems are many, yes. But I come this afternoon to reaffirm to you that the challenges are great, but the opportunities are great. We had a great week last week at the DeKalb School District. I had the opportunity for the first time to meet with principals and assistant principals and regional superintendents and administrators from throughout the district. We had a frank and open discussion personally, but we walked away, I believe, with a great majority of people re-energized, excited, and focused on what we can do to restore full accreditation to this district. I said today, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart, I am convinced, beyond any reasonable doubt, that in the midst of this crisis, we are presented with a unique opportunity. And I am blessed to have been given the opportunity to work with you all to meet the challenges that we face. Within the next week, as soon as we get a quorum, a full board, I'm going to present my 90-day plan to the new board and to the district and to the public that encompasses more detail about where, number one, I believe that we are, and more importantly, about where we will go over the next 12 months. I've looked inside the DeKalb School District, and I understand the problems. But I'm a person who believes as a leader that we really shouldn't focus only on our deficits. I'm convinced in leadership opportunities like this, particularly in crisis leadership opportunities, deficit-driven strategies rarely succeed. And this is what I mean. You all have been in meetings, in the community, at work, even in the place of worship, where you engage in a meeting and then 30 minutes pass, an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you realize that we spent all of that time simply documenting and revisiting the problem, the deficit, what is wrong, what is not right. Nothing wrong with that. But my philosophy is somewhat different. When I walk into a situation, my first impulse is to determine the assets. Asset-driven strategies are often most successful. So even in DeKalb County, even in our school district, facing probationary accreditation, I first look to see what assets did we possess. And they are many. Our number one asset, of course, are our intelligent, beautiful, bright young boys and girls who are enrolled in our district. 98,000 assets. I'm meeting on a daily basis our employees, some 13 to 14,000 assets. Teachers who really is not so much a profession as it is a calling. I was asked by a reporter on the day after the 6 board members were suspended. He said, well, what are y'all doing at the school district? And I reported to them, early on the next morning, our teachers reported to their classrooms, and they did what they had been called to do, was to teach our children. I told them that the bus drivers were still on time. They picked the kids up, they carried them to school, and they returned them home safely. Our crossing guards were on busy streets, making sure that your sons and your daughters were able to traverse the busy traffic in a safe way. Our cafeteria workers prepared delicious meals just like they would on any other day. Some things I can control, some things I cannot control. And I'll be honest with you, most of the problems, the great majority of the problems that we face, I had absolutely nothing to do with. Give me a hand for that. Right? Isn't it right, Councilman Nard? But, and I see Commissioner Johnson is here. How you doing, Commissioner? And of course, I got to recognize Senator Miller. Senator, give him a hand. Yeah. I could not come in here until I got a pass from Senator Miller. Is that right? Does he do that with all other officials? I had to get a pass, so I'm here. But, I didn't create them, but the morning that Judge Adams asked me to raise my right hand, and when he asked me if I will, and I said I will serve as the interim superintendent of this district, I didn't create the problem, but every problem that exists, I'm responsible for. I own it. Not the school board, not this board member, not any elected official, not any principal, not any regional superintendent. They're mine. And I have no reservation because I could have said no, but I volunteered for the duty. Now, how are we going to move forward? First of all, and I'll be honest with you, I had two people warning me, do not go to Dunwoody.
That's all?
Don't go up to Dunwoody, because the people up there, they don't want to hear you, and they have issues between geography. But you know what? All I see are people who love children and who want the best for this district. We are going to build a district, north and south, east and west, that will serve all of our children. We're going to do it by having discussions, by answering questions. And by the way, I'm not sensitive. Been in Georgia politics more than 25 years. I've been called everything you could be called. I've heard it all before. I'm not sensitive. We can be honest. We can be straightforward. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I think it's important for us to seek common ground. Now, I'm going to stop, and I want to share with you all, I have Ms. Tyson, as to where we are in responding to the SAC action item. And it's interesting. And you hear a lot of things in the press, right? One of the most compelling things that I've learned since I've been there, when we went down to the state board hearing a couple of weeks ago, a question was raised that SAC had sent a letter, I think on December 17th or 18th, and Mr. Eldard had not received one letter, one email, one telephone call, one correspondence from the DeKalb School District until the second week in February when I called, when it was arranged for us to meet. And so over and over again, the question was raised at the state board meeting, why didn't someone respond? Right? But I'm happy to report to you that the failure to respond was not for indifference, and it was not for incompetence. Question has been raised on several occasions about the lost textbooks, or textbooks that never showed up, that was ordered and never arrived in the classroom, and the $12 million that's missing that no one knows where it is. Didn't you hear that?
Yes.
Matter of fact, before I ever dreamed I would be the superintendent, I heard it too. And I said, old people over at DeKalb have lost their mind. Right? I'm happy to report that in December we knew where the textbooks were. In January we knew where the textbooks were. In February we knew every textbook that was ordered, received, and placed in place. We knew in December, we knew in January, we knew due in February. We're going to share it. Dr. Howard's here. She will share the background information to help. So what I'm going to do, well, do you have any questions, thoughts, before you hear these two reports? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for taking our questions tonight. I have heard that there's a hiring freeze on replacing any vacant teacher positions, and that for the duration of the year, any teacher position that was open would be filled only with substitute teachers. And while this does not affect any of my children, I'm worried about the county for students that would have 30% of the year not have a permanent teacher in place. And the implications of other other academic success, not having, a vested teacher who can see their academic records, unlike a substitute.
Well, I thought we sent out a memo, and basically the memo said there is a hiring freeze for any position that does not impact the classroom. Basically, hiring freezes at the central office, but not hiring freezes that impact the classroom.
Okay.
And we distributed a memo, and if you give me your email, I'll be happy to share it.
Okay.
So, because people hear things, and so we want to correct that, and really it's just the opposite. There will be no hiring freezes on teachers or any other personnel that has a direct impact on the classroom.
Thank you for coming up.
No problem. That's not so at the central office, because there is a hiring freeze there.
Hey, Mike,
Yes,
what's
sir.
your comment to these people? Everybody's concerned about the size of our school system. Are your feelings about one size doesn't fit all? Some of the ideas you have there about some things that could maybe be different to get this thing brought down more to the local level, cluster level, if you will.
Well, I'm very impressed with the regional superintendents, and Dr. Ziegler is here, the regional superintendent in Region 1. Stand up, Dr. Give her a hand. She is the regional superintendent. I have long believed before this opportunity that in order to really, especially large bureaucracy in the public sector, that decision-making should be done at the point closest to the delivery of the service or the product. The service we provide, of course, is education to our children. And so in order to get more efficient and effective decision-making, that we need to empower our regional superintendents to work more closely with more resources with our principals and other administrators. We met, I guess it was this week, and Dr. Ziegler, you may want to share with what I've tasked our regional superintendents and central office personnel to begin to work on that's going to transform how I think the DeKalb school system should work. Centralization is really, really ponderous, and especially when you're serving 99,000 children, and one side, the senator points out, one side does not fit all. It just doesn't. And so if you really look at our population, we have really 5, 6 different population school districts here. Now what we have to do is have a common goal with a common mission, and that is to provide a quality education for all of our children, right? Now how you get there may be different, but the real question is not how you get there, but the question is what will you get there? And if we can create a more customized, customer-focused approach, I think we're going to be more efficient and effective. And that process is already underway. And you're going to see more resources, decision-making at the regional level, and less so at the central office. Yes, ma'am.
I think I speak on behalf of a lot of parents here. We are tired. And I went to a meeting with Dr. Atkinson when she was first brought in as superintendent, and she spoke a good game, and we were all let down. And you're up there speaking a good game too. So I just want to give a plea on behalf of us, please don't let us down again.
Well, I need your help. I need your help. Now, I'm talking a good game, but I do bring a record with me. And it's not all about what I am going to do, but you can do a little research and see what I have done. The point is, I'm very focused, I'm very committed, but I need your help. I'm one man, tasked with a major problem that I'm proud to be a part of. But I need the help of every parent, every stakeholder. The first thing I need, and there are people who say, well, we don't know about Michael Thurmond. He's never really run a school district, and that's fair. I haven't. That's fair. But all I'm asking parents, stakeholders, students, employees to do is to at least give me a chance. I'm not going to let you down. We are going to be successful. And I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart, I'm telling you that. But we're in a position, one of the things we have to do, we have to restore some trust. And I know I'm going to have to earn it, but at the same time, you have to be given the opportunity to earn it. And really, that's all I'm asking, is an opportunity to restore trust. That's why I'm here tonight, asking you for that opportunity to give me a chance to help turn this district around. And together, we're going to do something really that hasn't been done anywhere in this country. We're going to take a large urban school district of an extremely diverse population, challenged financially, and transform it and restore it to the position of elite and promise that it once had. And we're going to do it together. There are a lot of people who believe that it cannot be done. I meet people every day and they say, oh, we feel sorry for you. You're in a hopeless situation. Right? I mean, really, just strangers come up and just, they shake their hand. And I say, I'm happy. I'm delighted to be here. I have spent my entire life preparing me for this moment. And I would not be anywhere else. Because I believe, I know we have good parents. We're going to prove people wrong. And let me tell you how we're going to prove them wrong.
I hope I am proved wrong, I really do.
Yeah, we're going to prove them wrong. They don't believe that the Republicans can work with the Democrats. They think that partisan bickering will supersede even the desire to educate our own children. They don't believe the black folk and the white folk will ever sit down and put together a school system that can serve all of our children, poor, the middle class, and the wealthy. They just don't believe it, and I'm telling you, they are wrong, and we're going to prove it. Yes, ma'am.
You're asking us to give you the opportunity. Can we ask you, as a Dunwoody community, that you give us the opportunity to help you, help our children, and that you'll listen to our ideas, to work with your ideas so that we're both giving each other the opportunities to do what's best for the children of DeKalb County. But that as much as you give us ideas, that you will please listen to our ideas, not just Ms. Siegler, because I know she listens to us daily, if not multiple times daily. But we ask that you listen to what we give you as opportunities, what we think can help the school system as a whole. Will you give us that openly, that you will also listen to our options?
Absolutely. I'm an intense listener. Fundamental to my leadership philosophy is first you have to listen. And let me tell you, it's not just listening to the people you agree with. The challenge is, will you listen to people who might disagree with you? But you cannot learn if you do not what? Listen. I am here tonight to say to each and every parent and anyone who's watching or listening in the media is that I am here to listen, to learn, and then to lead. Listen, I want great ideas. I don't care where they come from. It doesn't matter. Because it's really not about that. If we can educate, help one more child to graduate from high school as opposed to dropping out, if we can help one more child who maybe not interested in going to college but to pursue a career through technical school or the military, and I'm for it. There's no way I can be against that. It's just not. My presence tonight, I hope, suggests that I'm a person who's open and willing to listen, but not just listen, but I want to learn.
Michael?
Gentleman in the back. I'm sorry.
I also wanted to point out a few more people that are here. Fran Terry Knopf from the Dunwoody City Council, Bates Madison from Dorville City Council, Steve Brookhaven, I'm sorry, you told me Dorville. Steve Wilkins, our COO of DeKalb County School System, is here. Doug Thompson, Commissioner Lee May from South DeKalb, thank you for coming up. Commissioner Larry Johnson, Tom Taylor, and then Ms. Ziegler, Ms. Howe, and Ms. Tyson. Thank you. And I have a couple of questions that were handed to me and that were sent in, so I'm going to ask you those. What is going on with the balanced calendar now that Superintendent Atkinson is no longer here? Question number one. Question number two, which I think is really important to a lot of people here. When will the legal fees for the suspended board be cut off?
Let me answer the second question first. I'm an attorney by profession. We are spending way too much money for lawyers.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, after church today, I met with a professional. I was talking about comparing what we pay in attorney fees to other districts similarly situated in metropolitan Atlanta. That is going to change. I'm just that's going to change. That will be a part of the 90-day plan. That's a news plan. On the second issue, the balanced calendar, one of the things I've asked our senior management team to do, as well as our principals, to look at pending policies, rules, and regulations. Not get implemented. Before we add more, sometimes it's good to clean house and get rid of things that you don't need. In bureaucracies, what we tend to do is add more stuff on stuff. So our first priority now is to inventory all policies implemented and pending to determine which, if any of them, we need to do in the short term. I have heard from parents, matter of fact, my next door neighbor who lives across the street, that the day that it was announced that I was the new superintendent, I went out to get my mail, and he came running out the house. And he said, my wife hates the balanced calendar. At that point, I wasn't sure what the balanced calendar was. But that was the first suggestion I received, believe it or not. We're going to look at all of this. If it doesn't make sense, we don't have to do it. Plus, we're in a crisis. And so what we're going to get back to, and I hate the sports analogy, is blocking and tackling. Let's get back to the fundamentals. Let's get back to teaching our children, focusing on academic excellence and achievement and growth, and then grow from there.
When you ask your question, if you would please state your name too, that would be great. Thank you.
It's back to me. This gentleman in the back, then I'll come.
Sure, Doug Silverman. I've got 2 kids at Vanderbilt Elementary School. Just the question that you answered partly there about the legal fees. What would you specifically say to those people on the Board of Education that have not dropped their legal challenges at this point? What would you personally say to them? Because obviously that continues to suck money, our taxpayer money, out of the school district, focuses less money on the schools and on our teachers, who are fabulous, by the way, and Dunwoody did.
Give our teachers a hand and Dunwoody. It's a difficult issue. Personally, I work with the governor. There's no secret. We wanted to effect a compromise that would have prevented a long, divisive, and expensive legal appeal. It did not happen. Now, oftentimes, one of the things we have to do in terms of listening and learning is that to really learn, sometimes you have to put yourself in another person's position. Not sympathy, not empathy, but understanding where the next person, the next man, the next woman is coming from. On the issue of the lawsuit, there are individuals on the board and residents of DeKalb County who believe that the right to vote is sacred. They just, and for good reason. Because when you deal with individuals who may have had a history of not having the right to vote, or having that right agreed or taken away or denied, and then through long history seeing individuals who've been brutalized and all types of things trying to get the right to vote, these individuals feel that that supersedes any and everything else. That the right to vote is central to a democracy. And if that is diluted, then it dilutes not just the school district, but it dilutes democracy. And I have talked to individuals who believe that, they believe it honestly, and they believe it sincerely, and I can't question that. What I do believe, though, is that we will be a much better district. No, we'll be a better county. Because see, oftentimes we talk about the dysfunction on the board, but oftentimes dysfunctional voters elect who? Dysfunctional leaders. And what we have to accept, really, in our county, which I think we're going to overcome, if we're going to help create a better school district, we're going to have to create a better county. And it has to be a county where people from different backgrounds, different views, different philosophies can sit there and work through challenging problems. Now, and so that's why I leave it, and I accept that. If someone tells me that is their fundamental belief, I can't challenge it, because I understand it. I just understand it. Now, at the end of the day, back to attorney's fees, that lawsuit, as expensive as it is not the most expensive legal fee item we have to address. Right? I'm dumbfounded by the fact that in a school district where we can't buy every child who needs a textbook, and we can't give our teachers raises that go on 5 years without them, right? And we can't contribute into the retirement as we promised that we would do. spend that type of money on lawyers. Just can't do it. And I'm not gonna do it. And one of the advantages you have is that I am a lawyer. I know the game. We can do better than what we're, no, let me change that. We will do better. I promise you that, sir. Yes, sir, I think we have.
Yes, Robert Wittenstein. There are some new efforts in the Dunwoody community spearheaded to look at alternatives for us to get some additional control over our education and our school system. I wonder if you would comment on your reactions to those and which kinds of things might we hope to get your help on in the weeks and months and years to come.
Well, as a parent, I'll be honest with you, you need to do what you believe is in the best interest of your child. Just do it. You get one shot. And if you believe creating a separate district in Dunwoody is in the best interest of your child and your children, then I would be the last one on the face of the earth to oppose it or try to convince you not to do it. Now, in the interim, while you're trying to pass the constitutional amendment and create a new district, I'm responsible for educating your children. And my job is to do everything I can in the interim to improve that educational opportunity. And that's it. That's just what I believe.
Hi, my name is Kate Butler-Plum. I'm a parent of 2 high schoolers at Dunwoody High School, but I'm also a teacher. And my question is, we all know that we need to do a better job at doing what we need to do for our students. But in order to do that, you have to keep the teachers. And there's a lot of things over the last 5 years that have happened, decisions that have been made, I'm not going to go into all of them, and it's not just salary guys, that have negatively impacted what we take home. And at some point, teachers are going to leave. And I want to know what you're doing to keep the good ones. What are you doing to keep us from going to other places that have their welcome mat out for us? Because I love where I teach. I love living in this county. But at some point, the dollars, they're very important. What I can do for my family. And it's been going down with that slippery slope for the last 5 years. Every year it's worse. And it's not just because of the economy. It's because of decisions. So what are you going to do to help us stay?
Well, first, back to the gentleman's question. The money we do have, we need to invest it more wisely, first of all. Secondly, we need to make sure, as you said, it's not just money, but money's important. We don't want you working for free. We don't want farmers, right? We are going to get our fiscal house in order. The good news is we started this fiscal year with a $16 million deficit. We put in place a plan that has dramatically reduced that deficit. And if the economy holds, we had good news on the job market last Friday, we're moving in a direction where we'll be back in the black and not in the red. And that's the first thing. Something else you said I think is very important. And this is from just experience from another career I had. If you survey employees, whether it's in the school system or in the private sector, the greatest part of their dissatisfaction is not necessarily the salary. They feel like they are not fully appreciated by their employers and their supervisors.
100%.
That doesn't cost one single penny, does it, for us to do a better job. And one of the things I said at the principal meeting, we're going to eliminate, there will be no intimidation and bullying of our teachers or any other personnel. We're going to publicly state, number one, that we appreciate you. We're going to avoid sending down policies and rules and regulations asking you to do more stuff that doesn't really make any sense, not asking you to do more that we have control over. The things that come from the federal government and the state government, we don't necessarily have control over. We have to go to the senator. But here in DeKalb, putting pressure on this, but here in DeKalb, we're going to make sure we're not creating things that don't necessarily need to be done. Just to show that we recognize that, number one, you need better pay, you will get better pay, and one of the things I'm going to try to do hard as much as I can is to restore at least some furlough days. For our and the good news is the economy is getting better. So that means, and I noticed that property values are up 10% over a year. which means that some of the revenue that's been lost during the recession is on its way back. Now, it's not just local too, because, you know, the state government cut over 1.23 billion out of local appropriation. But we can't blame the state or the state of the economy, because first, we gotta get our house in order. Yes, sir.
Michael, actually, you said something before about having some experience for a job. You had one before. Well, I have some experience with this job. But anyway, the teachers are the last ones we get to. We always get down the line, click, 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 and we get to the bottom. They're the biggest pull. So they're the place that you got to take money from, the place that you get those kind of things. I understand that. The point is, we have to, and you said it, we have to continue to work and find a way to get to them as quickly as we can get to them. Because I watch them, and no matter what's going on in this whole system, and no matter where it's happening, you show up at 8:30 and you look at the classroom door, they're on the floor, they're standing up in front, and they're doing their job. And they don't do it with any animosity, they love those children, but they carry it home, and they got to deal with it. And we just have to, we can't talk about it, we got to start today to figure a way of doing it. Whatever it may cost us, we have to do it now, before they do leave. They are our most valuable asset. We have to start at the bottom, because we consider them the bottom, and work up. I want to put them up here first, and before you get a new program, or we get this new, or we get this new, they have to be taken care of. Whatever that might take. And you're right, it doesn't always have to be money, but it's got to be something to let them know that they are our most valuable asset in this whole system.
You're absolutely right.
And
The first senior staff meeting I had with my senior leaders, and I told my human resource director, number one, if we have $1, you direct it to the classroom. And that was I guess it was an executive order. We don't have much money, but what we do have, it needs to go first to the classroom to create the inverted pyramid. In my mind, really, they're not at the bottom, they're really at the top. The higher you rise in an organization, if you think about it as a pyramid, most people see me at the top, but actually it's just the opposite. The people at the top, you are inverted. I'm responsible for everyone above me.
Are you prepared to stop these board members from interfering and intimidating our teachers and our staff and our students?
Absolutely. Yes. There is no excuse.
Stop the board members.
Or anyone else from intimidating not just teachers, but bus drivers, cafeteria workers, anyone. The way the school, and some people say, why don't you fire all the school board members? But, they elected. But the way the school district work is that they can have no interference in administrative activities of the school district. That's what got us in trouble. Their issues, their complaint, their concern has to be communicated through the superintendent, and then the superintendent responds by working with individuals there through the food chain. That was not happening, and as you stated in the SACS report, it's very clear that became one of the three critical issues that resulted in us being on probation. I will do everything in my power to ensure that that does not occur, and if it occurs, I will move swiftly to correct it.
We've watched over the years the money being sucked out of the classrooms and then gone into the central office, where I have to be honest, I feel like there's a real lack of accountability for how that money is spent. I watch those board meetings where we talk about, where the money went and why we underestimated the power bills and all of that. My husband's a controller in his company. If he were to report numbers like that, he'd be fired in a minute. And what I'm asking you is, what can we expect from you as far as cleaning house in the central office, or at least getting salaries in line, making sure people are held accountable to the policies that you create, not just creating policies? Can you answer that?
First, I want to share with you that during the last round of budget cuts, we cut, based on what I've been able to understand, over 600 jobs in the central.
Were they rehired?
Since I've been there, they have not been rehired. Because the way I understand it, we lost about $100 million, it's a lot of money has been lost. But back to your point, you have to have a strong team with clear levels of accountability. I can't speak as to why people did what they did. I have to create a culture of respect from senior managers all the way through the food chain. It's really an issue of government. That's why I talk, and people say, why do you always say that? You have to respect the lowest person on the totem pole. If you are disrespecting the lowest person on the totem pole, guess what? That infects the entire organization. It's easy to respect the superintendent when he shows up at the school, everybody. Someone once asked me, one of my workers said, well, what's the level of customer service? How much should we respect the people who walk through the door? You treat every person as if he or she is the superintendent. Right? That's the expectation. I'm old school. I grew up in the country. I'm sorry. That's just the way I was raised. This has nothing to do with governmental administration. This is how my mother and my father raised me. You respect other people. And often, 99 times out of 100, they will what? Respect you. And we're going to have an organization, a district that respects individuals. Matter of fact, we're going to respect and celebrate their differences. We all aren't going to always agree on everything. It's just not even normal for us to agree on everything. We're going to be different, but we're going to respect each other in our differences. And that is how we're going to help move this district forward.
What can we expect from you in increasing transparency in the system, and when will the check register be put online?
Well, that's a question I have not considered, but I will. Make a note. It's being written down. One of the things you can go online right now, we put out our high-level report on the SACS responses. I received a great email, and I shared it with the board members on Friday from the president of the DeKalb building. And he thanked me because we sent it out. How many people we sent it out to? Over 200. Just send it to him. And he said, you know what? He wrote me back. He said, Michael, thank you. He said, well, over a year, we have been asking for some detailed information about how the district is responding to the SACS report. And finally, we got it. And I'm sharing it with my clients, and his clients are men and women who are trying to do what? Purchase or sell houses. We're going to be transparent. I don't have anything to hide. It's your money. It's not my money. And you have a right to access all the information. I'll come this thing. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I've got 2 kids, Vanderlyn, and 2 more who will be there soon. First of all, I'd like to give you this photo.
Oh, thank you.
It's the Thinks You Can Think, and I give you that with purpose. And the reason I give you that with purpose is that you come in with a fresh set of eyes, and that is a blessing in this situation. And something that I would encourage you to do is use your strengths, and I actually wrote that in there, and use the strengths of the people around you. Something I'd like you to do is talk to Senator Goulart and talk about instructional minutes and the best use of those, and talk about the kids who are in the Title I schools who go home to apartments afterwards, or go home and or go to a daycare that they're crammed in there and they can't move and they can't play. And those opportunities come in school, and I'd like you to try to get back to that, because the kids are suffering beyond the economic impact. They are suffering because of the structure we created for them. And you have an opportunity now to think outside the box. And the last thing I'd like you to think about as you come into this is it's a possibility of doing something called an early release. I taught that, and it is an amazing tool that teachers can use, and I would hope that, not only teachers, but students, I hope that you consider keeping that. And it may not be very popular amongst many people, but it's something you get used to. Teachers are short time to plan and to get together and to collaborate and discuss their students' needs. Every minute is so built in for them, but if you give them that 2-hour block, they can do amazing things with it. And you can take that 2-hour block with those other kids who maybe would get sent home, and you offer those intervention programs and the tutoring and the homework clubs, and for your gifted population, an enrichment program, school sports in elementary school. It's an amazing opportunity, and you've got it.
Well,
So,
thank you.
grab those
Thank you
things.
so much. Thank you. It's interesting. I had a conversation with my minister, and I asked him, I said, well, what is my greatest asset? What can I really bring to the job? And he said, you got fresh eyes. And then he used the example. He said, you ever work on a crossword puzzle, and you get to a point in the puzzle where you just can't find that one piece, and you sit there for minutes and hours, and then your wife or your daughter walk in the room, and 2 minutes later you pick it up, and there it is. Fresh eyes.
Morale, I know, is low, it's hard. But like everybody else who attested, the teachers do come in, they're ready. They want to do for those children, they want to do for the parents, which is great. I mean, I'm always pleased to see that. I appreciated your statement about hiring. My understanding is that there is a hiring freeze as long as we don't have a quorum board to allow for hiring.
Yeah.
Are they allowed, you're allowed to still hire
To my understanding.
teachers?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Okay, because I know that at board meetings, oftentimes people end up coming up and asking for the board's approval of these
No, no.
hires. And that's why I think there's been some confusion about what that hiring freeze means.
It's amazing because I've had senior staff to rewrite that memo to make sure it was perfectly clear that there was not a hiring freeze in the classroom. But for some reason, maybe it's a result of dysfunction.
Well,
No
that's
matter
not-
how specific you say it, it's interpreted in a negative way. It comes back negative.
Well, that's why I wanted you to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's part of why it's misunderstood. So,
Maybe I'll reissue the memo tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, we're going to reissue this memo. It didn't work. It did not work properly.
I wanted to ask, have you just seen the report from APS regarding balance calendars?
I read this news coverage of it last week.
That they
I've not
are
read the
actually
report.
doing away with it in the 3 schools that still have
I
it.
saw that.
And one of the quotes that there were many great quotes in that article, but the one that I wanted to highlight, there are more important factors in the calendar, and that is the quality of principals and the quality of teachers. And that has been proven time and time again in reporting. And I was so dismayed when Dr. Atkinson really felt that balanced calendar and year-round school was an answer to so many of our problems. Because I, like you, feel like there's so many problems we have that really should be cleared up first before we try to do something new that we're not really sure.
Let's get the fundamentals down. It's the blocking and the tackling.
So I want
Yes,
you to really, and when APS is so close to us,
I understand.
we really ought to learn from what they've done. They've been doing this for a decade. We really need to learn from what they've done. To that end, my understanding is there will be no summer school in DeKalb County this year. And teachers are required to give the CRCT. They are then going to be getting those test scores back more quickly than ever, so they can find out who has failed. Those teachers are then supposed to reteach that material to those students, retest those students on the CRCT before the school year is over.
Let me go to the source. Dr. Howe, about the summer school.
There'll be summer school for extended year for special education, for English language learners. Title I schools will have summer programs. They'll be at the high school for the DOLA and for the Georgia high school graduation test. So there are a variety of different summer school options.
But not for K through 6, regular learners?
There's not for elementary, middle, as has been the configuration in the past.
And that's very disconcerting to parents and teachers who are saying, if I have to be able to get that material through to them in a classroom setting in this period of time, how in the world am I supposed to do it in 2 weeks in May when all the other children are still coming to school, and what am I supposed to be doing with all the other children? And I'm wondering, with my own children, who I feel sure will pass, what in the world are they going to be doing? That's really frustrating to me.
All driven by budget issues.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we're at 8:20. We're gonna take 2 more questions, not including mine. I'm surprised. Well, I'm just honestly surprised that this has not come up, and that would be class size. It's my understanding that when we do have a board, they will have to do a budget. And they've always gone to the state and asked for a waiver to increase class size because of the budget issues. So I would just implore you again and again, don't let them do it. That was really a question.
I'm Rebecca Chase Williams, I'm the City Councilwoman with the new City of Brookhaven. And we are just as concerned as all of DeKalb is about our children. How have you opened a dialogue, or have you opened a dialogue with SACS? And I think some of us were distressed to hear that there hadn't been a response from their assessment. And how confident are you that we won't lose our accreditation?
Totally confident we will not lose. Failure is not an option. We will not lose accreditation. During my first week, when I realized that we had not communicated with SAC, we called out to Advanced Ed. Dr. Elgar was traveling in California, out on the West Coast. I would have met with him my first week. So I met with him on Monday of my second week. And I committed to him that we would do whatever it takes to answer the concerns that have been raised, and to respond in a positive way, to work with his technical assistant team, and to do whatever we needed to do to restore full accreditation to the district. That was my commitment to him. I asked him, it's interesting, you used the word confident, and I said, Dr. Elgar, are you confident in it? He said, no. And I was a little taken aback. He said, well, confidence is based on experience. And he said, Michael, I've not worked with you before. But what he went on to say was, I do have faith that you can get this job done. And I have great hope for the DeKalb School District. And that is the context of the relationship that we've had. We are working, we just formed a high-level team of various individuals inside the district. We are working hard as we can, and we're going to continue to work to do everything we can. Look, we had a town hall meeting with the governor. We had 30 of our high school students in a video town hall with Governor Lee, I guess it was Thursday. It was amazing. They were outstanding. I mean, they were brilliant young men and women. Great questions, very incisive, very, well thought through. But I was embarrassed with young men. Those kids showed us what we really look like. That these adults in positions of authority and influence had totally failed them. And it was painful to listen to the young man from Tucker High School who has college offers at Vanderbilt and Stanford ask the governor, will I be able to get a scholarship? Well, the diploma is not fully accredited. And I told my staff, I told all the managers, it's embarrassment. And we have to accept full responsibility for it. The children did nothing wrong. This is adult mess, right? And adults are going to change it and fix it. And I am going to do personally, I've taken personal responsibility, along with all of you all, to make sure that we do not lose accreditation in this district. Personally.
Michael, ask the governor. Ask the governor.
As Governor Deal. The governor has gone on record, am I right, Senator?
You're correct.
To support us in any way we can. I'm meeting on Thursday with Superintendent Barr and his top senior staff. We're going to begin to look at budget issues and construction issues and instruction issues. I'm meeting with his entire senior team. The Georgia School Boards Association has committed themselves to provide the training and technical assistance needed so that when we do get another board, we will not return to the mistakes that we made in the past. Everything that I'm reaching out to any and everyone who will help me. I met on Thursday with Herb Garrett, with the Georgia Superintendent's Association. I reached out to Dr. Will Banks over in Gwinnett County, and I asked him to serve as a mentor. Whatever we need to do, I'm committed.
Okay, last question.
Last question. Yes, and you were very patient.
Yeah,
How
thank
you
you.
doing?
Appreciate that. Thought Thurmond would give me a good question, but Bates Madison served on the Brookhaven City Council with Ms. Williams.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much for being here tonight and answering the questions. I appreciate it a lot. One of the things I think as a parent of a child in the DeKalb County school system, my boy goes to Ashford Park Elementary, is that I believe there are some organizational management issues that the school system has got to address. I know the school board had commissioned a study to be done by a consulting firm. I just want to know if that's something you've had a chance to look at. What sort of organizational management issues you think you will foresee the school system taking, and make sure that we don't go out and try and reinvent the wheel when we can look at best practices out there from school systems that are succeeding.
No, great question. And by the way, I recommended that we hire these firms, right? Because I recognize that the governance issues were not school board specific. It permeated the organization from top to bottom. Right now, they are reaching out. Some of the investigators are calling me. I think they set up an appointment with you. Is that right? We are reaching out not just inside the district, but to stakeholders outside of the district to help, to allow them to help us to really look in the mirror and see how we can govern this district more effectively. One thing I want to go back to you that I saw immediately is the lack of regional authority and direction. We were trying to run a district with 99,000 schools, 140 schools, 15,000 employees, one person, almost like the Wizard of Oz sitting behind the curtain. It cannot be done, and it cannot be done effectively, right? Especially when you have an extremely diverse population you're trying to serve. It just cannot be done. So one of the things we will do organizationally, which is your question, is that we are going to continue to decentralize command control closer to the point of delivery of the service.
I shouldn't be able to talk for everybody in here, but Michael, here's the deal. You got 9 board members. 2 years, you're going to have 7 board members. And what's happened in the last 10 years with our superintendents is that the board counts votes. And they look at you and they go, if you don't do it my way, I got 4 other people who will vote you out, because that's our #1 responsibility. We hire and fire you. And I feel strongly that you aren't going to be worried about that. I feel strongly that you're not worried about if you're going to get fired out, you're going to do what's right. And I think I can speak for everybody in this room that if you do that, then we got your back.
All right. Well, they can't find it. I want to thank, I see Commissioner, thank you so much. I'll keep the DeKalb County Commissioners agenda setting meeting on Tuesday.
Our official board meeting.
Our official board meeting. I'll be there to speak directly to the county commissioners, Commissioner Johnson, about what we're doing. I want to thank Councilman Dahl. We had a great meeting earlier today, and your senator, who fights tooth and nail, day and night, to represent you all under the Golden Dome. Give him a hand. Your senator.
The DHA has been videotaping the meeting, so if you didn't take all the notes that you wanted to, you can tell your neighbors that we will have it online. DunwoodyGA.org is our website, and we will have it uploaded there as soon as we can of the whole meeting. Councilman Dahl, I think you want to say something.
Thank you. Michael, on behalf of Dunwoody and truthfully North DeKalb, thank you so much for not listening to those 2 people and saying, all right, just want to know. We welcome you here not only tonight, but the door to Dunwoody and truthfully the door to North DeKalb is always open. The concerns of the parents, the concerns of the community are the same here as they are on the south side, the east side, and the west side. And it's not only, it's primarily about education, quality education, but we also know that without quality education, everything else that we do as a community, from roads to intersections to zoning, all of those other things for quality of life are second fiddle, and quality education comes first. Thank you so much.
Thank you.